Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for watching my channel here at Reveal Hypnosis. And today I am talking with Susan, who has been one of my clients. And we're going to talk today specifically about doing a session on Zoom because a lot of people are really surprised that you can do hypnosis using something like Zoom. There are a lot of benefits. A lot of people don't live in like my immediate area in Western Arkansas. And so Zoom is just a wonderful way to cut out the travel, and you can do the sessions in your own home where I believe a lot of people are more comfortable. And so if you don't mind, Susan, introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us about your impressions with Reveal Hypnosis.
I'm Susan Burton, and I'm in Indiana. So Chris was several hundred miles away from me. So I had two different people that I trust very much recommend or basically refer me to Chris for Reveal Hypnosis. They had both done past life regressions with her in their hypnosis sessions and got a lot out of it, and also got a recording that they could listen to more than once. So I was eager to do it and see what came up. Well, way back in high school, I'm in my 50s now, hence the white hair. Way back in high school, we had a stage hypnotist come, and he had us do this exercise where we squeezed our fingers together and then squeeze, 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 and then pull them apart. And I thought, well, they're not pulling apart because I just need to let go. So if the people who couldn't pull their fingers apart were considered hypnotizable, and they got to go on and be called up front. They raised their hands if they couldn't. He helped them pull their fingers apart. He guided them through that, and he called them up. And so that was kind of a stage hypnosis. But I knew there was real hypnosis where you could do some therapeutic work. And anyway, some of my experiences in college and later in life, in particular, probably was 28 when one of my friends was studying to be a hypnotherapist. So he lived a couple hours away, but I did a session with him so that he could get his hours to qualify. And I was hypnotizable with him because I completely trusted him. We had been friends for many years, and I was excited for this new chapter in his professional career. I felt that same level of comfort with you, I think, because I'd actually heard one of the hypnosis tapes that you did with someone. She shared it with me, and it really gave her some. Well, that's her private story to share, but it had a hugely positive impact. I know she's done at least 2 sessions. So I was eager to try it. I was looking forward to it. And I was so relieved that you were going to give me sample questions to pick from.
Right.
Because my mind, as people can probably already tell, it can go all over the place. So to have a set of questions and pick the ones that were really compelling. I mean, I could have picked different ones, and you made that really clear.
Yeah.
But that helped me narrow it.
I need to interject here at this point that the type of hypnosis that I do is not therapeutic hypnosis, which I just wanted to let the audience know that the type of hypnosis that I do is spiritual hypnosis. And so it's not for treatment or cures or anything like that. It's basically just for self-exploration, just to delve within yourself, and just find out answers to some of the problems or questions that we have in life. So
I think that was a really good fit for me over the type of hypnosis where it's a specific treatment with a goal or an outcome.
Right.
Because I do better if I get really centered, which the meditation music. I know you can describe it better than I can. The
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
meditation music that you sent for me to listen to ahead of time and
Right.
prepare.
Right.
And also that we were exploring from a spiritual perspective, felt like a much more holistic approach to my struggles. And I will share with the audience that one of the questions I included in my list had to do with finances and this feeling that I always have to work so hard and make so little money.
Mm-hmm.
So I had some really surprising things come through, that I never expected in
Right.
images. And that's
Right.
really good for me to get out of the words and see pictures. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
had some
Mm-hmm.
really clear images in my head
Mm-hmm.
during
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was about, maybe it was a little over an hour, but it was approximately an hour session.
Right. Right. Yeah. And it's amazing, yeah, what comes out, you don't expect it, just something totally out of the blue, and it's like, oh, okay, and that makes sense. But yeah, and helping to figure things out. um so how did you feel about, you had your friend that had done the session with me, and she also did it on Zoom. So I mean, you saw that it worked for her. I mean, how was it for you coming into it on I guess, if you would go in deep enough to be able to for the hypnosis to work, things like that, in regards to Zoom, because you do a lot of Zoom. You do a ton of Zoom meetings and workshops and stuff like that, which, you know, I consider you the Zoom queen.
Well, I think for somebody that's never used Zoom, you're going to talk us through it.
Mm-hmm.
Because anyway, I helped someone with a Zoom session, and
Uh-huh.
I left the
Uh-huh.
room and closed the door once it was all set up and it was
Right.
rolling.
Right.
But for me to get into it myself personally, I felt there were so many aspects that I loved about Zoom. First of all, I could choose you. I didn't have to search for a reveal hypnotist in my area that I might not know anything about.
Right.
And
Right.
even though you might have the exact same training, even be in the same training group, as you learned, everybody brings their unique personality, and you have such a gentle, loving, accepting, non-judgmental way of being in the world that, I mean, I could sense it from the one I listened to before I actually signed up to do one with you. And so I wanted to work with you. Of that, you know, I didn't have to try to travel to you. You didn't have to travel to me.
Right.
And for me to not be in a car, especially afterwards or even before, and having the
Mm-hmm.
stress of getting there and negotiating traffic, and then afterwards, if you want to just go lie down and take a nap, or
Right.
just sit and journal, or I drew pictures after, and I'm not an artist, so that was a surprise, but I drew pictures that related to my session afterwards, and I was able to lie down. I have an office chair where I can lean back and really relax. So I was in my home environment. So
Right.
I
Right.
preferred that to going
Mm-hmm.
somewhere new,
Mm-hmm.
and especially being able to just totally relax afterwards and not have to hop in a car and try to negotiate traffic. So
Right.
I think
Right.
Zoom made it better. And because I remember my eyes being completely closed during the session, and I had the experience of not remembering the session. So
Mm-hmm.
the other thing about Zoom, I had this great recording that you were able to email or message to me. I may have gotten it both ways.
Right. I usually send it both ways to make sure that, you get it and you're able to download at least one of them.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was able to listen to it,
Mm-hmm.
and I may have asked you for help downloading it. It's been a little while since we did that. Um, because it's saved and I've been able to listen to it again.
Right.
But
But
especially, I think it's really important that people who are very far away at all not have to do like even an hour drive.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Mm-hmm.
people may just prefer in person. I appreciate that. But since your eyes are closed and it's about listening anyway, it
Right.
feels like it works on Zoom just as well. And the recording is really important if you're curious afterwards, because after I
Mm-hmm.
drew my pictures and rested a bit, the next day I had no memory for what happened until I played it. And then it
Right.
all came back.
Right. And I mean, this type of hypnosis that I use is the well point hypnosis method. It uses what's called the sound sync tech music, which helps you go into that brainwave state. I mean, you're not asleep. You're not considered asleep, like, you know, when you go to bed at night. You're just zoned out. But I found with, you know, not only with my clients, but also with myself, that using that particular method, hypnosis method, along with the sound sync tech, it really does put you in a very relaxed state. So afterwards, you do want to, you know, to go on and go into sleep. I mean, I slept so good. I think the first time I had my first session, you know, I was just out. So it really does relax you. And yeah, like you said, it's like, you know, it can be a concern if you're worried about, you know, having to drive a certain distance to get home. So anyway, another thing, I know some people are worried about being disconnected. And did you have any concern about that at all? Like being in the middle of a session and then, oh no, you know, what would happen if, you know, the internet disconnected? Because I'm sure you've seen that in your other Zoom meetings where somebody will have to, you know, or you'll lose them or something like that. Was that a concern for you?
It wasn't for me. I very rarely at my house will get your internet connection is unstable. And
Mm-hmm.
people have frozen for only, I don't know, 1 or 2 seconds every. So Mel, the person I know who let me listen to her recording first before I did my session, there was a moment in the recording where it said, okay, now we're back. So apparently it
Right.
did cut out for a moment
It,
and came right back.
yeah, it
So
dropped for about a full minute and then it picked back up again. Yes.
and I know anybody who's been online very much at all, and for you it's a lot. You've been online a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Uh-huh.
I know that you will know what to do to fix it. So in
Right.
our next session, if I am deeply under and my eyes are closed and I'm in a place of complete peace and focus on what is going on in where we go with the hypnosis or where my subconscious leads us or whatever, my higher self, whatever we want, whatever word we want to name it with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I know you'll come back. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
have complete
Right.
confidence if everything else fails, my phone will ring and bring me out of it and I'll answer it
Right.
and you'll be, but I doubt that. I really don't see that happening. And
Right.
I know that you've done things like, for my session, you relocated so that you would have a good Wi-Fi signal because that particular day
Yes.
you didn't. So you
Yes, yes. I
relocated
was having
yourself.
to. I lived out in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, and if I had a session, I would drive down so I could into town so I could get a connection. And I had an RV. You know, that I considered my little mobile office, and I would either do the session in that, or sometimes I just do it in the car. You know, just so I would have the connection and not have to worry about losing it. But you know, there really isn't anything to worry about in that regards if the connection isn't able to come back, because the client would basically, being relaxed, would just fall into a sleep and wake up an hour later and go, oh, where was I? And we would just reconnect and you know, either continue on if we could, or just reschedule and have, continue on with that session on another day, and that would be no problem with me, no extra cost or anything involved with that. I mean, that's just that's just electronics. I mean, things happen,
So that could even be up for the client. I mean, I usually have my laptop plugged in, but if somebody had their laptop unplugged and their battery
Lost
died, you
battery.
might not be able to get them back until the next day. I see.
Right.
Yeah. So you
Yes.
have a plan for that, and just knowing what I
Yes.
know about your career. I didn't know this during our first hypnosis, but just knowing your career path and your personal life and all the many things you've juggled in your life successfully. Yeah, I can see that's amazing. I mean, I hadn't even thought that maybe it would cut out and it would never come back that day.
Right.
But
no.
somebody could
No.
unplug their laptop and forget that they are on battery power and they've lost battery.